Well, Gaurang Shah, Senior Vice President, Geojit Financial Services, is here to decode what this sentiment in the investors' mood really means. Gaurang, thank you so much for your time and for joining us here on News9. Always a pleasure. My first question to you is India WIX now at levels of about 25. I mean, we are seeing this volatility on a day-to-day basis, but what do these wild swings really mean for investors?
Thank you so much, Karthik, for having me on the show this morning. Good morning to all your viewers and to you and your entire team. A small disclosure, all recommendations that I'll be sharing with you this morning are a part of our fundamental research team recommendations from a long-term point of view. Our company, Geojit or myself, we do not have any kind of personal investments, no financial interest, no conflict of interest, but we share similar ideas with our clients. They might have their investment interests. So to answer your question, this will be more today, Karthik, because yesterday was weekly expiry and today, if I'm not mistaken, is the monthly expiry because tomorrow is a holiday on account of Ram Navami. Now, whenever we have seen, expiry day volatility, it has always been elevated, specifically with this time because you have India VIX at 25, though it has cooled off from the higher levels that we saw earlier, but it is not reasonably down. And my sense is that this being a truncated week also, because like I mentioned, tomorrow's holiday will come back for trade on Friday. And then Friday also, I don't think anything major is going to happen because then the day after, that is on Saturday, is the last day of the so-called ceasefire, 5-day ceasefire announced by President Trump.
Right.
So this is going to be choppy and volatile. But for investors, I think it's a great time to cherry pick some strong fundamental stocks.
All right. So in addition to the expiry of the Sensex monthly contracts, are we also looking at some positive sentiment built up on way of by way of, in fact, the oil prices correcting? So is there hope that perhaps, these reduced oil prices in the range of about $95 a barrel are likely to continue?
Well, it should definitely head downwards. It is still elevated according to our Indian crude oil basket, Karthik, if you actually go to see. And Indian crude oil basket is still at a very elevated
$150
level.
or so, I think, is what India is paying for a barrel of crude.
Yeah, this is after a all-time new high yesterday of 157, Karthik.
That's right.
Dollars a barrel, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not rupees. So,
Dollars.
and more importantly, I think unless and until we see a resolution of de-escalation, not from President Trump, because we know the kind of statements he makes on his the social media handle and the kind of shifting of goal from the time this unfortunate geopolitical situation started from 28th of Feb. It started with regime change, then it went to new nuclearization, then it went to something else, etc., etc. So unless and until there is a statement from Iran and unless and until we see something in absolute solid black and white, to trust President Trump is something that you want to take a risk. Let us wait and watch. Iran has on the other side, even yesterday, fired missiles at Israel and Israel has fired missiles on Iran. So it's not like everything is hunky-dory and peace over there. Missiles are still flying around on each other's as far as Iran and Israel is concerned. So we'll have to wait out. Choppiness and volatility will be there. We did recover from those 22,000 levels to 23,000 plus levels where we are trading right now, Karthik. Let's hope and pray that volatility index comes down, and along with that, we have a reasonable amount of downward correction in crude and natural gas prices. And this will only happen if there is some decisive statement from the respective countries.
Absolutely. Well, and that clarity is what everybody is awaiting and not just market participants. Meanwhile, I want to touch upon two stocks specifically with you this morning, Gaurang. First, of course, happens to be Reliance Industries, which is now getting as many as $5 million worth of Iranian oil. And this is something which is 5 million barrels, in fact, of Iranian oil. And this is obviously in the context of the sanctions temporarily lifted on the barrels already at sea. What does this mean for Reliance Industries?
So all those, floating oil on the vessels in the high seas, whether it is Iranian or Russian, India has been able to secure quite a bit of it. And in fact, certain vessels which are heading towards China, we managed to divert Russian crude, I'm talking about, Karthik, towards Indian ports. And yesterday and day before yesterday, we had some positive news flows about some vessels carrying Indian flag have been able to safely passed through the Strait of Hormuz and now they are headed towards different ports in India. We need to Indian government, as it was, elaborately stated by the Honorable Prime Minister in Parliament day before yesterday, and we had some statements yesterday also. I think securing our energy requirement is the topmost priority, and that's what the government has spoken about. The problem is at what price, Karthik? As of now, it is elevated, and I think as and when situation de-escalates, we will have a reasonable correction in crude oil and natural gas prices. My belief is that Reliance Industries has been on our radar. Again, as a disclosure, we've been positive on Reliance Industries for a pretty long period of time. And there is one more company that I would like to add to this particular question of yours is L&T.
Okay.
From the time the war broke out, Karthik, L&T has been down and out, touched levels of 32 or 3,300, and then it has recovered.
Right.
And I think it's a screaming buy, to be very honest with you. The valuations are extremely, extremely mouth-watering from a long-term point of view.
All right, so L&T added to the list of recommendations here by Gaurang Shah. Gaurang, I also want to talk about the HDFC Bank stock. We saw a massive rebound yesterday, and even this morning things are looking quite pretty. In fact, for HDFC Bank, the stock is about 2.5% or so up. Is it fair to assume at this moment that perhaps the worst is behind us for now, at least as far as HDFC Bank stock is concerned?
So the part-time chairman resignation, Atanu Chakraborty, came in as a shock. Then there was a wilder shock, Karthik, in terms of mis-selling of certain products by some 3 individuals.
That's right.
At a decent level. When all this negative news broke out, when the stock of HDFC Bank was trading at 52-week low.
Yeah.
And then because of this news flow, we saw further pressure towards 730 or 740. I don't remember exactly what the low was. And then the recovery, then the statement from the HDFC Bank management. And of course, we had clarity from the RBI governor also coming in.
Yeah.
So primarily speaking, Karthik, look, this is not going to have any major negative impact on the earnings of the company.
Okay.
Of the bank. Let us be very, very clear.
Okay.
And being a largest top pick in the private sector bank, we are extremely positive. So this is what the third investment idea, Karthik, if you will, from a long-term point of view, which is available at reasonable valuation, and risk reward is also favorable.
All right. Okay. Meanwhile, I also want to talk about, retail investors not looking specifically at stocks, but looking at indices and looking at their returns pretty much erode ever since the break of 2026. I will pull up those graphics also and help our investors sort of make informed decisions on how they should read these numbers, because over the last 2 months or so, Nifty 50 is down about 12.5%. Nifty oil and gas trading again exactly at the same decline levels. Nifty auto is down much higher at about 14%. Nifty bank is down about 12%. Nifty IT, the worst hit, down about 22.5%. The small cap, mid cap also battered. So overall, investors who are just looking at these benchmark indices, looking at these signals emerge from from the trading screens that they follow, what should they make of their sort of losses, their wealth erosion, and how long before they're able to at least recoup, if not make a killing? So
if I have to put it in absolute terms, Karthik, forget about short-term pain and think about long-term gains.
Okay.
Last year, we saw a return of higher single digit of close to about 9% on the Sensex and Nifty. Correct me if I'm wrong. And this year, since beginning, we had a little bit of issue. And then, of course, this unfortunate event unfolding. So, I mean, if you are a long-term investor, don't track your portfolio every week, every month. Leave it for some time.
How do you not do that?
No, honestly, Karthik, because it will trouble you. And maybe in that kind of a frustration state of mind, you may end up taking a decision that let me exit.
Okay.
And that will be the level where the markets will rebound. Right. And it has happened. I have number of cases, Karthik, during COVID time, when people have sold out at the bottom and they've repented. So looking at long term, don't take a decision on your long term portfolio for a situation or an event which is going to get resolved in the next maybe 2 or 3 months. I'm assuming it.
Okay.
I hope it becomes soon, and I'm talking about the situation in the Middle East. So don't take. In fact, I would, and honestly, Karthik, I won't shy away from saying this on your channels that I have not stopped my SIPs.
Okay.
My SIPs are still continuing.
Have you increased your SIPs, and is that something you would suggest people with some liquidity to do as well? Is this the dip to actually increase your SIPs?
So I was just going to say that, Karthik. So my SIPs, there are about four or five odd SIPs that are getting debited from my savings bank account.
Okay.
I did not stop it when this 28th Feb war broke out. I did not stop my SIPs during Russia-Ukraine. I did not stop my SIPs during Israel-Hamas.
Okay.
I did not stop my SIPs during COVID time also.
All right.
And as and when there is surplus balance available in my savings bank account, I have done a lump sum investment also.
All right.
And this is a blanket disclosure that I want to give. So don't stop your SIPs. These are the times wherein instead of pulling out from the market, try to get in a little bit by allocating a little bit more capital in fundamentally sound stocks. If you can understand equity, do it directly. If you can't understand equity, use a fantastic product like mutual fund SIPs, which I have been doing it over the last many years, and I have no complaints.
All right, Gaurang, sound advice coming there for all investors looking at their fintech apps every morning and seeing how much wealth has been eroded. Stop doing that. Think long term, and if you have the money, pour it in. That's the word coming in from Gaurang Shah. Gaurang, always a pleasure having you here with us on News9. Thank you so much for your time.